Welcome back to the Ricky Mathews Show. It's great to talk with Jeff Duncan and to get the latest on the Saints. I want to share a quick quote with you. I actually signed up for a newsletter called 1440. It's a really good sort of unbiased newsletter that's an aggregator. And one of the things they do is they have what's called a history book. And so many names were familiar. For example, at this time in 1521, Ferdinand Magellan died, and Ralph Waldo Emerson died. I quote him all the time on my outdoor show. Nelson Mandela wins election as the first black president of South Africa. New York City's Freedom Tower construction started in 2006. This is where I actually went when I was working for Advanced Condé Nast. This is where I went monthly for board meetings for a number of years. Spent a lot of time in that new building. Amazing, actually, looking out over the footprints to the former World Trade Center. What an inspiring and, in some respects, very sad to sort of get that all in your head, what happened there. But one of the things that was they shared was a quote from Coretta Scott King, and it said, "The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members." And that's one of the beauties of this show, is the fact that we get the opportunity to share the stories of so many amazing people who are compassionate. They're helping to add to the greatness of this community. And I would say that in the entrepreneur community, if you think about, I talk a lot about entrepreneurship. I most recently had an hour-long conversation with Mark Henderson, who's now writing a column for SuperTalk Mississippi News about entrepreneurship. That entrepreneurship is an incredibly important segment of our economy. And coastal Mississippi is becoming more a player. And I want to bring into the conversation now two friends of mine that have been on the show a couple of times. First is Tony Jeff, who's the president and CEO of Innovate Mississippi, and Geneva Dummer, who is the owner and of the Meeting Place. And we've had terrific conversations about her innovative work. What she does, in fact, is she creates flexible workspaces for people, virtual offices for co-working. And she started with one called the Meeting Place in Biloxi, and actually has 3 locations, and she's actually sitting at the new Gulfport location as we speak. But anyway, we'll come back to that in just a second. How you doing, Tony? And Geneva's welcome to the Ricky Mathews Show.
Yes, thank you for having us.
It's good to see you. So, Geneva, how's it going?
Fantastic, honestly. I mean, I don't get a minute during the day, but I still get to pick the kids up at 2. So, I mean, it's a great lifestyle for me. But it's great for other people too, because it allows small business owners to put more money into themselves and their businesses, live healthy, happy lives, and not hemorrhage money on a building that they really didn't need in the first place.
Yeah. So as we've talked about many times, you and I have, and others and I have, about how, certainly this was a trend before the pandemic, but what we find out when there's a disaster, we certainly learned this after Hurricane Katrina, that trends that were in place prior to the pandemic just got sped up by the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And you were in the right place at the right time. That means one of the great things about being an entrepreneur is having dogged determination, a vision, and being in the right place at the right time and taking advantage of it. Sometimes people are in the right place at the right time and don't take advantage of it, but you were certainly in that moment. Tony, remind people what Innovate Mississippi is all about.
Well, the easy way to describe it is we're like the Shark Tank for technology startups. And we've been working, statewide for a long time with these technology startups. But the big thing we've been trying to do over the last couple of years is build regional partnerships. And so that's why folks like the Meeting Place are valuable partners of ours in this overall effort, and for specifically an accelerator program that we piloted last year that we're now doing. So pretty much the same, but we're excited about the new efforts regionally.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's great to have this ongoing conversation in coastal Mississippi about entrepreneurship and what it means to not only coastal Mississippi, but to the state. But Tony, when you think about the work that you do, you spend a lot of time thinking about what we often refer to as sort of an entrepreneurial culture or an entrepreneurial ecosystem in Mississippi. And we've made a lot of improvements. We still have a long way to go to really, really sort of institutionalize this. But you're all about taking that to the next level, aren't you?
We really are. And I think, it starts with just believing you can do it here. Because I will tell you that most people don't even bother to look for the resources, even in their local community. They just assume that other place is better. and they just go start looking there first, even though there's usually resources right in the backyard. So it starts with believing you can do it there. And then after that, we make sure that the local partners, that there are mentor opportunities, connections to capital. And there's a brand new South Mississippi Angel Fund that's just kicking off here in pitches now, and all the other resources entrepreneurs need to grow their companies where they are.
Yeah, so that is pretty cool. So Geneva, coming back over to you, having the meeting place and creating this sort of shared office space and the way that you approach it is a great business, and it's naturally sort of kind of connected to entrepreneurship and an effort like you're involved with Tony. But you don't necessarily have to do what you do as it relates to angel funds and presentations and getting involved and taking the ecosystem around entrepreneurship to the next level. Why do you do it? What keeps you focused on being involved in something like this?
Well, part of my business model actually is to function as a business incubator, because, the county business incubator is no more. And so I'm kind of the only person that is available to put people in touch with whatever it is that they need. So I love to network people. I love to send people where they need to be. So if somebody's just starting a business, I send them to the Small Business Development Center. If somebody has a business and they're ready to expand and build capacity through contracts, I send them to the South Mississippi Contract Procurement Center or the Apex Accelerators. If somebody has a product and it's scalable and it's marketable, I send them to Innovate Mississippi. So we all kind of work together, transferring clients between each other as they need services, because each one of those entities has a specific set of skills, right, that they can put in place to make these businesses really strong. And then the meeting place just reinforces that by helping them not spend all their money or hire more staff. They can afford to put more money into people.
Geneva, you said that really well. But Tony, if you had to describe what an entrepreneurial ecosystem looks like, Geneva just did a good job of painting that picture, didn't she?
She did, and I think she's she's a little humble about it, because it's easy to just focus on sort of the landlord piece, and you could probably just do fine from a monetary standpoint if that's all you did. But being a resource partner like the meeting place is, to then connect with all those other people that she's not getting referral fees out of, right? These are connections that are helping that business, but she doesn't get paid for. That's really part of the passion that the reason why we love the meeting place as our regional partner in the area, because of that passion to help entrepreneurs with whatever their needs are.
Well, what I see that as, Tony and Geneva, and hearing you talk about it, what I see that as is you painting a picture of what your competitive advantage is. You want people to see you as more than just a shared workspace. You want them to see that when they come there, that there is an incredible number of potential experiences that they can tap into, and not only from you, but from these partners that you've amassed that can help them, to help direct them in the right way. And your point is well taken as it relates to the incubator. That's literally what you've become, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, honestly, our judges panel, I've got folks from the Legacy Business League, the SBDC, of course, MSET, Renaissance Community Loan Foundation. All of these people that are resources are actually judging, and my competition is set up a little different. It's a learning environment in addition to a competition. So yeah, there's cash prizes at the end and you're competing, but you're also learning from your mentor from start to finish. We have a kickoff event on May 5th, and then we have practice pitches every Friday through the whole month of May. And then the final competition is on June 1st. So they're practicing the whole time in front of a different panel of judges for at least 2 of those practice pitches. So they're judged just as if it was the competition, so they can advance during the learning process for the competition. And then by the time they actually get selected for the accelerator, if they do, and they don't have to win to be selected for the accelerator, Innovate has pick of the litter. If they like somebody that didn't judge well, that's all right. They might get invited to be part of the statewide competition. So it's not just about the cash, it's about the opportunities.
I love the idea of this, Tony, that you had this, not only this chance to get incredible advice and counsel about, your pitch, your product, your idea, your service, whatever you're putting out there. So the developmental opportunity is significant. But then combined to that is the opportunity to be able to tap into these Coast Angel funds on top of that. It's kind of a win-win. So if someone were really thinking about and has a great idea, didn't really know anything about any of this, what would you say to them about getting their toe in the water related to this particular June 1st deadline?
Well, so the deadline to apply is actually this weekend at April 30th deadline through the meeting place or through Co-Builders, which is cobuilders.ms is the main statewide program. And as Geneva mentioned, it's really a two-tier program. So there's an awesome opportunity with these pitch events all over the state, specifically on the coast in Hattiesburg as well through partners. We found that a company, when they know they have to pitch in front of a crowd, even virtual, and they're given a good mentor, they're going to do about 6 months worth of work in a month, being ready to stand in front and tell people about their business. So that's an important element.
So if you're interested in this, the deadline is like now. So we'll come back on the other side and talk more specifically about what they can do if they're interested. And also, if you want to contribute toward the Coast Angel Fund, I want to talk about that too, because this may be a great opportunity to identify a good business. We'll continue this conversation about entrepreneurship after this break. Welcome back. I have my friend Tony Jeff from Innovate Mississippi and Geneva Dummer, who's from the meeting place. And it's a shared workspace place. It has 3 locations now, for a matter of fact. She continues to expand. Think of what she does as being more of a business incubator. So if you have a business that is looking for not only a place where you can work from, where you don't have to ultimately rent your own place, and you need advice and counsel and sort of need to know where to go, especially new business owners, she's a really good resource to tap into. So Tony, let's go back to the beginning real quick. What is happening here in coastal Mississippi? Let's really zero in on the deadline so we make sure people understand that what's happening for the rest of the month and what really is going to take place on June the 1st.
Well, so any time of the year, Geneva is an awesome resource. But right now, there's an opportunity to be connected in for these pitch competitions. And the deadline for the South Mississippi, for the Coast competition, is April 30th through cobuilders.ms website, or it then links in through Geneva's application through the meeting place. These are pitch events where companies can win cash and prizes, prepare with a mentor. Really, I think there's going to be a lot of value in those, period. But then from these pitch events, we will be selecting 10 companies to be enrolled in a statewide accelerator where they're going to get funding and work through between August and November, ready to pitch to investors. So on November 8th, there's going to be a big pitch day. There'll be investors from all over the Southeast there to hear their pitches for those companies that have been selected. But the first stage is to do the pitch event and the pitch competitions. There's one on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, as I say, with that deadline ending this weekend.
That's exciting. So how's the participation so far, Geneva? And I know you the more the merrier when you're talking about something like this, but kind of give us an update on how it's going.
We've had so many applications come in, honestly. Not everybody's a good fit. It has to be scalable. It has to be marketable. But for the most part, we can take just about any kind of project that might make a good investment, because that's the whole point, right? Is to get them ready to ask people to invest in their company. And we want to talk about what that means. People aren't just going to give you money because you've got a great idea. If you don't have any skin in the game, if you haven't put any effort towards it, you can't just pitch your idea and expect people to think that they're just going to throw cash at you. It doesn't work that way. You have to have the facts behind your argument, and you have to show them why they should invest in your company and what their return on that investment is. So that's what we talk about there. We get them ready for the reality of that situation. And look, you mentioned the South Mississippi Angel Investment Fund. My husband and I are actually part of that. And so we see people who are pitching for investors, and some of those judges are actually part of that fund as well, and some of the mentors as well. You never know who you're going to end up with. So you could be partnered with somebody who is actually part of the Angel Investment Fund. You just never know.
So, Tony, one of the things I really want to zero in on, though, as it relates to the angel investors, some are doing it as a community service. Some are doing it because they want to be on the ground floor of a new and innovative idea that is, as Geneva pointed out, that is scalable. And for people who don't know that word, in other words, it's something that you could explode into this large company. the reality is this could be a great opportunity for people who are looking for sort of that next new idea, that next new company that is truly scalable, where their investment can pay off.
Yes, and I think you see folks attracted to angel investing who many of them want to do well and do good. So they want to invest in their local community versus sending it off to some other location. But they also, of course, are looking for returns. So they want to have deals that can give them significant return. And the South Mississippi Angel Fund, although they've already started hearing pitches, is actually still open. If accredited investors could just Google South Mississippi Angel Fund, or entrepreneurs Google South Mississippi Angel Fund, they can find information about that group. They're private individuals who put in their investment into this, but are going to be investing in the community in these deals that can both do well and do good.
And you've seen where some of these investments have really paid off, haven't you?
Well, and as a matter of fact, we've had a couple, of whatever reason, Oxford hit gold a couple times with more than $500 million exits. So I know FNC made about 45 millionaires out of their deal when they sold. Another one, Next Gear Solutions, just sold here recently for more than $500 million. And so you're seeing these types of exits where folks, again, are invest in the community. These companies are growing, but then they're also getting significant returns for that.
What a success story. As I mentioned, I had a great conversation with Mark Henderson last week, who's writing a column about entrepreneurship for SuperTalk Mississippi Media. And one of the things he said is that too many people say, I want to be an entrepreneur because I want to be my own boss. And he says, the last thing you are when you're an entrepreneur is your own boss, because everybody's your boss. That's so true, isn't it?
Yes, and I think, Mark is a board member of ours, just an awesome. I've not had a chance to visit with him and Leslie since they sold the brewery, so I want to hear more about that story when I see Mark again. But I think if you look at entrepreneurs, especially if you're taking investor money, have a different type of obligation. They've got to be able to pitch the story that gives the return, but then at that point, they've got to set it up in a way that those investors get their returns. So we're really excited about everything going on. The opportunities right now through the co-builders.ms to make that application to get in the pitch event.
Deadline is now, so that if you have an idea and you didn't know about the pitch event, go look it up and apply now, because there's a real opportunity not only to get the coaching, but potentially win some money. Tony, Jeff, and Geneva Dummer, thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, and we will see you Monday morning.